The impossible artifact. Expanded narrative. The sun burned white-hot over the Atacama Desert, transforming the landscape into a shimmering mirage of heat and dust. Jack Morrison wiped sweat from his brow, the neural interfaces of his cybernetic enhancement sensors prickling with an unusual tension. Something felt different about today's excavation. Geological survey drones hovered overhead, their sophisticated scanners cutting through layers of rock and sediment that had remained undisturbed for millions of years. The International Archaeological Research Team had been working this site for weeks, following anomalous readings that suggested something extraordinary lay beneath the barren ground. Jack's augmented vision flickered with data streams, highlighting minute variations in the ground composition. A slight electromagnetic disturbance caught his attention, something that shouldn't exist in a geological formation this old. He raised his hand, signaling the team to halt their drilling operations. "Hold position," he called into the team's communication channel. "We've got an unusual reading at coordinates 73 Delta." Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the lead archaeologist, approached the scanning station. Her reputation for meticulous research was matched only by her ability to uncover the most unexpected discoveries. She studied the holographic display, her dark eyes narrowing as she analyzed the data. "Those readings are impossible," she muttered, running her fingers through her dust-covered hair. "The material composition doesn't match any known geological structure." The drilling team watched in tense silence as Jack carefully maneuvered the ground-penetrating radar to get a more precise scan. The device began to malfunction, its sophisticated electronics sparking and flickering. Electromagnetic interference created strange patterns across the display, like ghostly whispers of an ancient technology. A low rumble began deep underground, so subtle that most would have missed it. But Jack's enhanced sensors picked up the vibration immediately. Something was moving beneath the rock, something that defied every known law of geological stability. "Everyone back!" Jack shouted, his voice cutting through the desert silence. The ground began to shift, not with the violent tremors of an earthquake, but with a precise, almost mechanical movement. Layers of sediment seemed to part like a curtain, revealing a smooth surface that reflected light in impossible ways. Dr. Rodriguez activated her research team's emergency protocols. "Begin full-spectrum scanning. Maximum data collection. Whatever this is, it's not natural." Specialized drones descended, their multispectral sensors probing the emerging object. What they revealed defied comprehension. A crystalline structure approximately 2 meters in length began to emerge, its surface neither fully solid nor completely transparent. It seemed to shimmer between different states of matter, absorbing and reflecting light in patterns that suggested complex internal mechanisms. Jack's cybernetic enhancements struggled to process the visual information. The object's surface contained intricate geometric patterns that seemed to move and shift when observed from different angles. It was as if the crystal was alive, or contained something alive. "Electromagnetic readings are off the charts," reported Sandra Chen, the team's lead physicist. Her voice trembled with a mixture of scientific excitement and genuine fear. "This material doesn't just absorb energy. It seems to be processing it in ways our current technology can't even begin to understand." The crystal continued to emerge, rising slowly from its millions of years-old resting place. Dust cascaded around it like a ceremonial curtain, revealing more of its impossible geometry. Jack noticed something else. The temperature around the object was dropping rapidly, creating a localized zone of unnatural cold in the middle of the desert's burning heat. Research equipment began to malfunction. Computers flickered. Communication devices produced strange, fragmented signals that sounded almost like a language, but not one any human had ever heard before. Dr. Rodriguez approached carefully, her protective suit's sensors working overtime. "We're looking at something that challenges everything we know about archaeological discovery," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This isn't just an artifact. This is a message, and we have no idea what it's trying to tell us." As the crystal fully emerged from the ground, Jack felt a strange sensation. For a brief moment, Something like a memory, or was it a vision, flickered at the edge of his consciousness. A glimpse of star-filled skies, of civilizations beyond human imagination, of a legacy waiting to be understood. The impossible artifact was no longer just a discovery. It was the beginning of something that would change human history forever. Cosmic First Contact. Expanded narrative. The quantum signal spread across galactic space like a ripple of impossible information. Within moments of the artifact's emergence, the Galactic Confederation's deep space monitoring systems lit up with alerts that sent shockwaves through their most secure communication networks. Admiral Krelvax of the Zarnak Diplomatic Corps stood motionless, his multi-jointed exoskeleton perfectly still as holographic displays cascaded with incoming data. His species had spent millennia cataloging and managing emerging civilizations, maintaining a careful balance of technological development across the galaxy. Humanity had always been a footnote, a primitive species barely worth monitoring. Until now. Replay the quantum signature, Krelvax commanded, his translator device converting his complex biological communication into standard galactic speech. The signal was unlike anything in the Confederation's archives. It carried a complexity that suggested not just intelligence, but a level of technological understanding that defied their existing classification systems. The quantum pattern contained layers of information that seemed to shift and reconfigure with each analysis. In the vast conference chamber of the Galactic Hub, representatives from dozens of advanced species watched in growing unease. The Vorlex delegation, insectoid beings known for their ruthless efficiency, were the first to break the silence. "This is a potential threat," clicked Representative Zorn, his multiple mandibles moving in agitated patterns. "The quantum signature suggests capabilities far beyond what our initial assessments of human technology indicated." A holographic display showed Earth, a blue-green planet that had previously been considered unremarkable. Now, it pulsed with an energy that suggested something fundamental had changed. Back on Earth, the international research team was barely comprehending the magnitude of their discovery. Jack Morrison stood before a bank of monitors, watching as global communication networks began to light up with strange interference patterns. Military installations across the planet went on high alert, sensing something was fundamentally different. Dr. Elena Rodriguez approached, her face a mixture of scientific excitement and growing concern. "The quantum signal is still broadcasting," she said, "but it's not like any communication method we've ever seen. It's more like an invitation." Aboard the lead Confederation vessel, Admiral Krelvax made a decision that would alter galactic history. "Prepare diplomatic protocols," he ordered. "We will make direct contact with Earth immediately." The Confederation fleet materialized at the edge of the solar system, a massive assemblage of ships that defied human understanding of space travel. Sleek vessels with geometric designs that seemed to bend light itself, constructed from materials that could transform and adapt in ways no human technology could comprehend. Global defense systems went into immediate high alert. Satellites tracked the incoming fleet, military commanders around the world prepared defensive protocols, and scientific institutions scrambled to understand the sudden appearance of extraterrestrial visitors. Jack Morrison was transferred to a high-security research facility, his cybernetic enhancements making him a critical asset in potential first-contact scenarios. Dr. Rodriguez was brought in as the primary scientific liaison, her expertise in archaeological research suddenly becoming the most important skill on the planet. The first transmission came with a precision that was almost mathematical in its approach. "Inhabitants of Earth," the message began, translated simultaneously into every human language. "We are the Galactic Confederation. Your recent quantum emission requires immediate diplomatic intervention." The word intervention hung in the air like a barely concealed threat. Military analysts around the world tensed. Some saw preparation for potential conflict. Others saw an unprecedented opportunity for advancement. The global media went into a frenzy, broadcasting every available detail about the mysterious visitors. Admiral Krelvax watched the human responses with a mixture of curiosity and condescension. Humanity's reactions were precisely what the Confederation had come to expect: chaotic, emotional, lacking the calculated precision of more advanced civilizations. What the Admiral didn't realize was that humanity's apparent chaos was about to become their greatest strength. In a secure research facility, Jack Morrison studied the incoming transmission. Something in the quantum signature felt familiar, a resonance that connected back to the artifact discovered in the Atacama Desert. He couldn't explain it, but he knew this was more than just a first contact scenario. This was the beginning of something much larger. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was nothing like they had been told. Technological explosion, expanded narrative. The research facility buzzed with an electricity that went beyond mere technological anticipation. Dr. Emily Hartwell stood at the center of a maelstrom of scientific discovery, her brilliant mind racing faster than the most advanced quantum computers surrounding her. The crystal artifact from the Atacama Desert had been transformed into something beyond a simple archaeological specimen. It was now the focal point of humanity's most critical research initiative, codenamed Horizon Breach. Jack Morrison moved between research stations, his cybernetic enhancements allowing him to process information at speeds that would have been impossible just weeks earlier. The quantum data from the artifact seemed to be doing more than just revealing information. It was actively reshaping the researchers' understanding of physics, communication, and technological potential. "The data patterns are adaptive," Emily muttered, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. "It's not just providing information. It's teaching us how to understand information itself." Global scientific institutions have been mobilized. The world's most advanced research centers, from MIT to the European Space Agency, from the Chinese Academy of Sciences to the Brazilian Institute of Advanced Technologies, were all working in unprecedented collaboration. The first breakthrough came unexpectedly. A junior researcher named Michael Chen noticed something strange in the quantum communication protocols. What initially appeared to be random interference was actually a complex communication method that could transmit information across unimaginable distances instantaneously. Traditional understanding of communication, based on electromagnetic waves and light speed limitations, suddenly seemed primitive. Emily gathered her core research team. "We're not just decoding an artifact," she explained, her eyes blazing with scientific passion. "We're learning an entirely new language of technological communication." The Galactic Confederation monitoring stations detected the rapid technological advancement with growing alarm. Each day, humanity seemed to unlock another layer of the artifact's potential. Technologies that should have taken centuries to develop were being comprehended and adapted in mere weeks. Jack's cybernetic systems began to change. The neural interfaces that had once been cutting-edge human technology now seemed to resonate with the quantum data. He could process complex mathematical equations in seconds, visualize multidimensional structures that would have been incomprehensible days earlier. "The artifact is more than a repository of information," Dr. Rodriguez noted during a high-security briefing. "It's an active learning system. Every time we interact with it, it adapts. It's teaching us as much as we're studying it." Global power dynamics began to shift. Traditional technological leaders found themselves struggling to keep up with the rapid advancements emerging from the research facility. Energy production systems were being revolutionized. Communication technologies were being completely reimagined. Michael Chen discovered a breakthrough in quantum energy transfer that could potentially solve global energy challenges. A single protocol derived from the artifact's data could generate more sustainable energy than all current renewable technologies combined. The Zarnak Diplomatic Corps watched in growing concern. Their monitoring systems showed humanity advancing technologically at a rate that defied all known developmental models for emerging civilizations. Admiral Krelvax convened an emergency session of the Galactic Confederation's ruling council. "This is unprecedented," he reported, his multi-jointed form casting complex shadows on the holographic displays. "Humanity is not just learning. They are transforming." Back in the research facility, Emily Hartwell made a discovery that would change everything. The quantum data contained more than technological information. It carried complex genetic markers, suggestions of a biological potential that went far beyond current human understanding. "We're not just decoding technology," she whispered to Jack. "We're unlocking something fundamental about our own species." The artifact pulsed with an inner light that seemed to respond to human interaction. It was alive in a way no technological device had ever been alive before. Each interaction revealed new layers of complexity, new potential waiting to be understood. Outside the facility, the world was changing. Global communication networks began to show strange, adaptive patterns. Energy grids became more efficient. Technologies that had been theoretical became practical overnight. Humanity stood on the brink of a transformation that would reshape not just their own civilization, but potentially the entire understanding of technological development across the galaxy. The Galactic Confederation watched, and for the first time in millennia, they felt something they had not experienced in centuries. They felt afraid. Galactic panic. Expanded narrative. The central chamber of the Galactic Confederation hummed with barely contained anxiety. Holographic displays flickered with real-time data streams showing humanity's unprecedented technological acceleration. Representatives from dozens of advanced civilizations sat in tense deliberation, their collective unease palpable. Representative Zorn of the Vorlex delegation slammed his multi-jointed appendage against the council table. "We cannot allow this to continue," he argued, his translator rendering his complex biological communication into sharp, staccato speech. "Humanity is advancing at a rate that threatens the entire established galactic order." Admiral Krelvac stood at the center of the chamber, his massive form casting intricate shadows across the holographic projections. Humanity's technological progress was unlike anything in the Confederation's millennia-long records. What should have taken centuries was happening in weeks. The holographic displays showed a cascade of technological breakthroughs, energy systems that defied known physics, communication protocols that could transmit information across impossible distances, adaptive technologies that seemed to learn and grow with each interaction. "We have three primary options," announced the Confederation's primary strategist, a crystalline being named Lurent: diplomatic suppression, technological quarantine, or direct intervention. On Earth, the research team led by Dr. Emily Hartwell remained largely unaware of the cosmic political storm brewing around their discoveries. They continued their work with a mix of scientific excitement and growing understanding that they were on the brink of something extraordinary. Jack Morrison reviewed the latest data streams, his cybernetic enhancements processing information at speeds that would have been impossible just months earlier. Something fundamental was changing, not just in human technology, but in human potential itself. "The genetic markers in the artifact are active," he reported to Emily during a late-night research session. "It's like the technology is rewriting our understanding of human capability at a cellular level." The Galactic Confederation's monitoring stations worked overtime. Each new human breakthrough was analyzed, dissected, and debated. The Vorlex delegation pushed for immediate action, proposing a comprehensive quarantine of the solar system. "Humanity represents an unprecedented variable," Zorn argued. "Their technological acceleration could destabilize centuries of carefully maintained galactic balance." Other delegates were more cautious. The Zinrak Diplomatic Corps, known for their measured approach, suggested a more nuanced strategy. "We must understand before we act," their lead representative argued. "Humanity's potential could be as beneficial as it is dangerous." Global political leaders began to notice the strange shifts. Communication technologies were becoming more efficient. Energy production was revolutionizing. Medical technologies were advancing at an impossible rate. Something fundamental was changing about human civilization. Admiral Krelvac prepared a comprehensive report for the Confederation's highest councils. The data was unprecedented. Humanity was not just developing new technologies. They were fundamentally reimagining the nature of technological development itself. In the research facility, Dr. Rodriguez made a discovery that would further complicate the galactic political landscape. The artifact's quantum data carried more than just technological information. It contained complex genetic markers that suggested something profound about human potential. "We're not just learning," she told Jack during a secure briefing. "We're being transformed." The Vorlex delegation began preparations for what they considered a potential containment operation. Massive interdiction fields were prepared, capable of isolating entire solar systems. Advanced weapon systems were calibrated, ready to respond to what they saw as a potential threat. But something was different about humanity. Each attempt to categorize, to contain, to understand seemed to slip away like water through fingers. Jack Morrison's cybernetic systems picked up strange quantum resonances. The artifact's influence was spreading in ways that defied traditional understanding. It wasn't just a technological breakthrough. It was a fundamental reimagining of what was possible. As the Galactic Confederation debated humanity's fate, something extraordinary was happening. Humanity was changing, evolving, becoming something entirely new. And the galaxy was about to discover that they had severely underestimated a species they had long considered irrelevant. The quantum signal continued to pulse. A message, an invitation, a challenge. Humanity was ready to change everything. The genetic revelation. Expanded narrative. The genetics laboratory was a cathedral of scientific discovery. Dr. Emily Hartwell stood before a massive holographic display, her hands trembling slightly as she manipulated the intricate genetic sequencing revealed by the artifact. What they had discovered was beyond anything in human scientific understanding. The quantum crystal wasn't just a technological relic. It was a genetic blueprint, a message encoded in the most fundamental language of life itself. Each strand of genetic information told a story millions of years in the making, revealing a truth that would reshape humanity's entire understanding of its own origins. Jack Morrison watched from a nearby console, his cybernetic enhancements allowing him to process the complex data streams in real time. The genetic markers were unlike anything in terrestrial or known extraterrestrial databases. They suggested not just an ancient lineage, but a deliberate genetic engineering project of unprecedented scale. "We're not just descendants," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible. "We're a carefully constructed evolutionary project." The genetic sequence told a story of intentional design. Dormant genetic markers began to activate, triggering subtle changes in human physiology. Researchers across the facility noticed increased cognitive capabilities, enhanced neural plasticity, and accelerated healing responses. Dr. Sandra Chen, the lead geneticist, brought up comparative models. "These genetic markers," she explained during a high-security briefing, "they're adaptive. They're designed to activate under specific technological and environmental conditions." The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't a random evolutionary development. They were a carefully crafted species, designed with potential that had been lying dormant for millennia. Global scientific institutions scrambled to understand the discovery. Each analysis revealed more questions than answers. The genetic blueprint suggested a civilization so advanced that their concept of technology blurred the lines between biological and mechanical systems. In the Galactic Confederation's monitoring stations, the discovery sent shockwaves through their most secure communication networks. The quantum signal from Earth had been more than a technological transmission. It was a genetic activation sequence. Admiral Krulvax reviewed the incoming data with growing concern. The human species was transforming in ways that defied every known developmental model in galactic scientific archives. Jack's own body began to change. The cybernetic enhancements that had once seemed cutting-edge now felt like primitive extensions of a more complex biological system. His neural pathways expanded, creating connections that seemed to draw information from somewhere beyond traditional cognitive processes. "The genetic markers are creating new neural networks," Emily explained during a late-night research session. "It's like our DNA is rewriting itself, activating potential that's been waiting for millions of years." Global defense systems began to detect unusual changes. Soldiers undergoing routine medical evaluations showed enhanced cognitive capabilities. Scientists reported increased problem-solving abilities. Even children demonstrated remarkable adaptive capabilities that defied previous understanding of human potential. The Vorlex delegation demanded immediate action. This is not natural development, Representative Zorn argued in the Galactic Confederation's central chamber. This is a deliberate activation of a species-wide evolutionary protocol. Dr. Rodriguez uncovered the most profound revelation. The genetic sequence contained more than just biological information. It was a complex communication system, a message waiting to be fully understood. "We're not just a species," she told Jack during a secure briefing. "We're a message, a living communication system designed to activate under specific cosmic conditions." The artifact continued to pulse with an inner light that seemed to resonate with human interaction. Each new discovery revealed layers of complexity that suggested a purpose far beyond simple technological advancement. Humanity was changing, evolving, becoming something entirely new. And the galaxy was about to discover that the species they had long considered irrelevant was anything but ordinary. The genetic revelation was just the beginning. Something extraordinary was awakening. Technological warfare without weapons. Expanded narrative. The demonstration was scheduled for 900 hours, Greenwich Mean Time. But nothing about this presentation would follow any traditional protocol. Dr. Emily Hartwell stood before the most extraordinary audience in human history. Representatives from the Galactic Confederation filled the specially constructed amphitheater, a massive structure designed to accommodate beings of various physiological configurations. Holographic interfaces translated every nuanced movement, every subtle communication signal. Jack Morrison watched from a secure control room, his cybernetic systems fully integrated with the presentation's complex quantum communication network. The artifact's data had transformed human technology in ways that defied previous understanding of physics, communication, and information transfer. "What we're about to demonstrate," Emily began, her voice calm and measured, "is not just a technological advancement. It's a fundamental reimagining of cosmic communication." The first demonstration involved quantum entanglement communication, where previous galactic communication technologies required massive energy expenditures and relied on complex relay systems. The human system operated on principles that seemed to defy existing scientific understanding. A holographic display materialized, showing simultaneous communication points across multiple star systems, not through traditional electromagnetic waves or light-speed transmissions, but through quantum information transfer that occurred instantaneously, without any observable transmission medium. Representative Zorn of the Vorlex delegation leaned forward, his multiple sensory appendages quivering with a mixture of scientific curiosity and growing alarm. The communication demonstration showed information transfer across distances that should have been impossible, transmitting complex data sets across entire galactic clusters in milliseconds. Admiral Krell-Vax watched the presentation with growing unease. The human demonstration was systematically dismantling every established understanding of technological communication in the Galactic Confederation's archives. Emily activated the second phase of the demonstration. A complex holographic model appeared, showing how the quantum communication system could adapt and reconfigure itself in real time. The system wasn't just transmitting information, it was learning, evolving, creating new communication pathways with each interaction. Traditional communication relies on fixed infrastructure, Emily explained. Our system creates dynamic communication networks that can restructure themselves instantaneously based on environmental and informational requirements. The Zinrak diplomatic representatives began a rapid communication exchange, their biological communication systems working overtime to process the implications of what they were witnessing. Jack's cybernetic systems interfaced directly with the presentation, providing additional layers of data processing that enhanced the demonstration's complexity. His neural interfaces could now manage communication streams that would have overwhelmed the most advanced computational systems just months earlier. The third demonstration focused on energy transfer. The human team showed how their quantum communication protocols could also serve as an energy transmission system. Massive amounts of energy could be transferred across impossible distances without any significant energy loss. Global scientific institutions watched in real time. The presentation was being broadcast across multiple platforms, transforming humanity's technological understanding in a matter of moments. Dr. Sandra Chen managed the technical specifics, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces that seemed to respond to her thoughts as much as her physical interactions. Representative Zorn's communication systems began to overheat from the sheer complexity of the data being presented. The Vorlex delegation had specialized in technological assessment for millennia, and yet this single presentation was systematically challenging every established technological paradigm. "This is not just technology," Emily said, her final statement cutting through the complex holographic displays. "This is a new way of understanding information itself." The Galactic Confederation representatives sat in stunned silence. Humanity had just demonstrated technological capabilities that suggested they were no longer an emerging civilization. They were a transformative force. Jack looked at Emily, a subtle understanding passing between them. The artifact had done more than just provide technological information. It had awakened something fundamental about human potential. As the presentation concluded, Admiral Krulvax made a decision that would alter galactic history. The old models of understanding technological development no longer applied. Humanity had just changed everything. Challenging the cosmic order, expanded narrative. The Galactic Confederation's Central Council chamber fell silent as Dr. Emily Hartwell and Jack Morrison entered. The room had hosted diplomatic negotiations for millennia, but nothing could have prepared its ancient walls for this moment. Beings from across the galaxy watched. Representatives whose civilizations had existed for hundreds of thousands of years, who had cataloged and managed emerging species since time immemorial. They had come to expect a certain predictability in cosmic development. Humanity was about to shatter that expectation completely. Jack's cybernetic enhancements hummed with a subtle energy, his neural interfaces processing information at speeds that made the most advanced Confederation technologies seem primitive. Emily carried with her the quantum artifact, now understood to be far more than a simple technological relic. "We are not here to request permission," Emily began, her voice cutting through the complex translation systems that filled the chamber. "We are here to redefine the existing understanding of technological and species development." Representative Zorn of the Vorlex delegation bristled, his multiple appendages creating intricate patterns of agitation. "Humanity has demonstrated technological capabilities that violate established galactic protocols," he countered. "Your sudden advancement threatens the carefully maintained balance of cosmic development." Admiral Krulvax observed from a central platform, his massive form casting shifting shadows across the holographic displays. The human delegation represented something unprecedented, a species that refused to be categorized or contained. Emily activated a holographic display that began to unravel the complex history of the artifact. Layer by layer, she revealed the true nature of human potential. The genetic markers, the quantum communication systems, the adaptive technologies, all were part of a deliberate design far more complex than anyone had imagined. "We are not an emerging civilization," she explained. "We are a carefully constructed evolutionary project, designed to activate under specific cosmic conditions." The revelations stunned the Council. The artifact was more than a technological treasure. It was a message, a living communication system that had been waiting millions of years to be activated. Jack stepped forward, his presence radiating a newfound potential that went beyond traditional understanding. The cybernetic enhancements that had once seemed cutting-edge now appeared to be primitive interfaces to something far more complex. "The technologies we've demonstrated are not the endpoint," Jack said. "They are the beginning of a fundamental reimagining of cosmic potential." Global communication networks tracked the presentation in real time. Millions of humans watched as their representatives challenged the most established power structure in the known galaxy. The Zinrak Diplomatic Corps, known for their measured approach, began a complex internal communication. The human presentation challenged everything they understood about species development. Humanity was not just advancing, they were fundamentally rewriting the rules of cosmic evolution. Dr. Sandra Chen, connecting remotely, provided additional scientific context. Each piece of data revealed layers of complexity that suggested a purpose far beyond simple technological advancement. Representative Zorn demanded immediate action. "We cannot allow this level of uncontrolled development," he argued. "Humanity represents an unprecedented variable in cosmic stability." But other delegates were captivated. The human presentation suggested possibilities that went beyond traditional understanding of technological and biological potential. Emily's final revelation was the most profound. The artifact was not just a technology. It was a key, a mechanism designed to unlock a potential that had been waiting millions of years to be activated. "We are not asking for your approval," she concluded. "We are informing you of a fundamental change in cosmic understanding." The chamber erupted in a complex symphony of biological and technological communication. Some representatives demanded immediate containment. Others saw an unprecedented opportunity for cosmic development. Admiral Krelvax made a decision that would alter galactic history. The old models of understanding species development no longer applied. Humanity had just challenged the entire cosmic order, and they were just getting started. A new cosmic dawn, expanded narrative. The transformation was not sudden. It was a gradual awakening that spread across human civilization like a living network of potential. Dr. Emily Hartwell stood on the observation deck of the Global Research Center, watching as the first generation of fully activated humans began to integrate their newfound capabilities. The quantum artifact remained at the heart of the facility, no longer just an object of study, but a living connection to a cosmic legacy that defied previous understanding. Jack Morrison's neural interfaces had become something more than technology. They were a bridge between human potential and a cosmic understanding that was still unfolding. His body had changed, not through mechanical augmentation, but through a fundamental genetic activation that blurred the lines between biological and technological potential. Global communication networks transformed. Energy systems became adaptive, self-maintaining networks that drew power from quantum fluctuations previously thought impossible. Medical technologies rewrote the understanding of human physical limitations. Dr. Sandra Chen monitored the global genetic activation protocols. The dormant genetic markers discovered in the artifact were not just activating. They were creating new neural pathways, new modes of understanding that expanded human potential in ways no one could have predicted. The Galactic Confederation watched in a mixture of terror and fascination. Admiral Krelvax reviewed the continuous data streams. Humanity was no longer an emerging civilization to be cataloged or controlled. They had become a transformative force that challenged every existing model of cosmic development. Schools began to change. Children demonstrated cognitive capabilities that would have been considered impossible just months earlier. Problem-solving abilities expanded. Empathy increased. The very nature of human potential was being rewritten at a fundamental level. Emily discovered the most profound revelation yet. The artifact was more than a technological treasure. It was a living communication system, a message left by a civilization so advanced that their concept of technology transcended current understanding. "We're not just receiving information," she told Jack during a late-night research session. "We're becoming part of a cosmic communication network that has been waiting millions of years to be activated." Global leadership transformed. Traditional political boundaries began to dissolve as humans developed a more interconnected understanding of their potential. The genetic activation created a subtle but profound shift in human consciousness, a collective awareness that went beyond individual limitations. The first human exploratory missions began, not with traditional spacecraft, but through quantum communication networks that could transfer consciousness across impossible distances. The very concept of space travel was being reimagined. Representative Zorn of the Vorlex delegation watched in growing desperation as humanity continued to defy every established protocol. The Galactic Confederation's carefully maintained systems of species management were crumbling. Jack's capabilities continued to expand. He could now interface directly with complex technological systems, his neural pathways creating communication networks that seemed to draw information from beyond traditional dimensional understanding. Scientific breakthroughs happened daily. Medical technologies that could regenerate entire organ systems, communication protocols that could transmit complex information across galactic distances instantaneously, energy systems that drew power from quantum fluctuations. The artifact at the research center's core continued to pulse with an inner light. It was no longer just an object to study. It had become a living connection, a bridge between humanity's present and a cosmic legacy that was still unfolding. Emily understood now what the artifact truly represented. It was not just a technological treasure. It was a key, a mechanism designed to unlock a potential that had been waiting millions of years to be activated. Humanity was no longer just a species. They were becoming something more. A living communication system, a cosmic evolutionary project designed to challenge and transform existing understanding. The galaxy watched, and humanity was just beginning to understand its true potential.